Hey guys, Cal with Bushcraft here. Doing the Bushcraft International second challenge today. Be good. So what I'm going to show you today is how to make a birch bark sheath. So I'm going to show you how to take some of this and turn it into something quite useful for your bush friend here. Let's get started. Around here, to the Abenaki Indians, birch bark was a staple to them. It was life to them. So it's still very important to bushcrafters around here today, and it's versatile. It's got hundreds of uses. So I'm going to show you just one today. So hang tight. All right, we're back in here. Weather is just getting too bad for footage. Got our birch bark and our axe. Now, if you're out in the bush, you could use what I like to call a bush pencil. It's just a charred piece of wood. But for today's purposes, we're going to use pencil. So, first thing we're going to want to do is find the best piece of bark, which is on the end here, and find the thickness of how big we want the sheet to be. Also give like an extra ½ inch, I'd say, like that, about a finger's width. Maybe a little more, a little less. Give it a little more, just for error. I'm going to go here. So we're going to take this strip of bark, and we're going to peel it to as far as we need it. We'll cut it off. And then we're going to cut this piece here to length. Alright, next step, we're going to put our axe with our cutting edge in the middle of where we want it. So we're going to just fold and see where we need to get this. And it looks like, a little further forward, here will be the best. We're going to mark this off. There. And we're going to cut that off. Same with the other side. With birch bark this thick, the easiest thing to do is score it. And then cut it with your mark. Like that. So what we're going to do next with this piece of bark here is we're going to kind of shock it into the folder we want. We don't want to do it too fast because that could break some of the outer layers of this bark. Gotta love birch bark. Alright, so we only want the birch bark to come to here and stop right at the handle here. So we're going to measure that. So to cut this, I'm using scissors for this because this is the most important part, and scissors give you a real fine edge. What you can do in the bush is score this and do that, or you can use the clippers on your multi-tool. Perfect. Alright, so this is what you're left with. And you may be thinking, well, that's not much for a sheath. Well, you'll see what happens next. So we're going to take this inside, we're going to let it adjust to the heat so it's not as brittle, and we're going to punch and stitch it. Alright guys, I'm back inside. So right now we've got a piece of birch bark. There's two options you can do from here. Either A, you can take your needle and you wax thread, or your sinew, or whatever you have, your inner strands of paracord, and you can just stitch up the sides. you can just take it and you can just stitch up the sides. Or you can take one of these little dudes, an awl. There's some on Swiss Army knives. This is just a sharpened piece of metal put into a piece of wood. This was my grandfather's. And this is what I use for an awl most of the time because there's not a very good awl on my multi-tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this awl because it reduces the risk of actually, when you're stitching, because this thread comes over, you have a tendency to rip out, like just out, so your hole will become useless if you just use a needle, and using an awl greatly reduces that. So I'm going to do that, and this is a bit of a painstaking process, so I'm just going to put some music on, do it, and I'll get back to you guys when I'm ready to stitch. So hang tight. Alright, one side done. It looks weird on this side, but this side is, I'm going to have to trim this, so it's not too bad. The problem is here, if you look, you can actually see here it's starting to crack. It's only halfway through though, you can see. So that's not bad. If it was the full way through, you'd have to probably patch it, because that's just a problem, because it'll eventually result in the deterioration of the stitching. So I'm going to stitch this up right now and show you how the stitching is, and then I'll finish this and I'll show you where to go from there. So hang tight. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on the end, close to the seam. And we're going to put it through. We're going to come here to our knot, spread the two threads apart, take the needle, put it between the two threads. This requires us only to do one knot, which is good for those cold nights up here where you can't have your fingers out for too long, and you can do this. It's a pretty gross motor function. You can do it with some liner gloves on. So, I'm going to come back around the front again, put it in again. To the finger. Having the good times, 'cause rock is not the right away. Alright, we're gonna pull this firm, but not death grip tight. I'm gonna keep going through the front, and I've got this pinched, so when I let go, all of this will be pulled a little bit tighter. Just overall be a better hold. I'm going to use this here because this is about the size of a piece of wood you'd be able to whittle down to a button in the bush. So the rest of this is real simple. Take the bottom end of it, make a loop. Take your bead, tie it off, measure until it'll fit snug with this, slip it over the top, just bring it up around, slip it over the top, and voila, you've got yourself a handy little sheath for your axe. So this is my submission. I put it up because I haven't seen it on YouTube at all, and I thought it was quite useful, and it's certainly unique because I haven't seen it done. So that's my submission. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the woods.